Before we start, take 1 second to support this channel. Hit subscribe and like. It truly helps us keep uncovering the stories others won't tell. Your support makes a real difference. Now, let's begin.
And I think certain words and terms become very topical and trendy.
New photos allegedly showing Meghan Markle have begun circulating online, and they've instantly reignited debate, but not in the way people expected. These aren't the old grainy images that have been argued over for years. According to those sharing them, these are high-resolution, never-before-seen photos pulled from private collections that were never meant to surface.
This, for me, is just another chapter that I think is full of, I'm a very curious person.
What's drawing the most attention isn't just the images themselves, but the setting and the company. In the photos, Meghan appears aboard luxury yachts and at ultra-exclusive Mediterranean gatherings, environments typically associated with extreme wealth and global influence. Almost immediately, online commentators and self-described insiders began speculating about what these settings suggest about her pre-fame years. Some voices from international high society circles now claim that before landing her breakout acting role, Meghan moved through elite social networks tied to wealthy figures from the Gulf region and European luxury hubs like Monaco. These claims frame her presence not as casual socializing but as deliberate networking within highly selective environments where access is tightly controlled. It's important to note, none of these claims have been independently verified, and no evidence has been publicly confirmed linking the photos to specific individuals or outcomes. Still, the speculation has spread rapidly, largely because of timing. The images surfaced just as Meghan has been working to reshape her public image through new media projects and business ventures, prompting questions about why these photos are appearing now and who may have chosen to release them. Online platforms erupted within hours. Users began comparing backgrounds, matching yacht interiors, and cross-referencing dates. Unlike older images that left room for doubt, these photos are being described as clear, professionally shot, and difficult to dismiss. For critics, they appear to support long-standing theories about how Meghan may have first gained access to elite circles. For supporters, they represent nothing more than unproven speculation fueled by internet obsession. What keeps the conversation alive is the recurring pattern some claim to see: similar locations, similar time frames, and repeated appearances at exclusive gatherings during the years between 2008 and 2012, when Meghan was still an aspiring actress. To some observers, that overlap feels intentional. To others, it's coincidence amplified by hindsight. Those familiar with elite social networks say access to such spaces rarely happens by accident. Invitations typically require personal endorsements, discretion, and trust. That idea has led to further speculation about who might have introduced Meghan into those circles. But again, no names, documents, or confirmed sources have been publicly presented. As the photos continue to circulate, one thing is clear: this isn't just about images. It's about narrative control. Meghan has spoken openly in the past about wanting agency over her own story, especially after stepping away from royal life. Now, critics argue these resurfaced moments complicate that narrative, while supporters insist they reveal nothing beyond how easily a story can be reshaped online. Whether these images represent meaningful context or merely another chapter in the internet's fixation remains unresolved. But with insiders hinting that more material may exist, and public curiosity showing no sign of slowing, this story appears far from over. What's making these newly surfaced images feel especially unsettling isn't just what they show, it's when they appeared. The timing couldn't be sharper. Just as Meghan Markle has been steadily rebuilding her public image through the high-profile streaming projects and lifestyle ventures, these photos suddenly entered the conversation. To many observers, that doesn't feel accidental. Several online commentators and a few unnamed insiders have suggested the release looks calculated, almost like a reminder that parts of her past were never as buried as they seemed. According to these claims, there have always been stories that never made it past early stages, either dismissed as rumor or quietly shut down before gaining traction. Whether that's true or not, one thing is clear: whoever released these images understood impact. The photos didn't surface gradually. They dropped all at once, sharp, clear, and impossible to ignore. That alone has fueled the belief that the source isn't a random bystander or fan, but someone with first-hand access, someone familiar with those same elite international circles. Speculation about motive is everywhere. Some believe it could be the result of a personal fallout. Others suggest it may be an attempt to distance powerful families or institutions from renewed scrutiny. And some argue it's simply about narrative, pushing back against what they see as a carefully curated public story. What's intensified the reaction is the silence that followed. No immediate clarification, No public context. No attempt to frame the images or explain the circumstances surrounding them. In the world of celebrity crisis management, that quiet has stood out. For critics, it feels deliberate. For supporters, it may signal a refusal to dignify speculation with a response. But silence, intentional or not, has only amplified the questions. As the images continue to circulate, online discussion has shifted from whether the photos are real to what they imply. The most common questions keep repeating. Who funded that level of access? Who made the introductions? And how did those connections intersect with later career milestones? The photos themselves don't answer any of that. They show moments, not motives. Yet to many observers, the setting alone, private yachts, tightly controlled gatherings, recurring locations, suggests environments where access is rarely casual and rarely free. That's where the debate sharpens. Networking by itself isn't unusual in entertainment or business. It's often essential. But critics argue that when a public image leans heavily on the idea of a self-made rise, evidence of long-term access to elite networks complicates that narrative. Supporters counter that images prove nothing beyond proximity, and that assumptions about funding, influence, or intent go far beyond what can reasonably be concluded. Still, the timing continues to haunt the conversation. These photos reportedly date back well over a decade, yet they remained unseen until now. That has led many to believe more material could exist, additional images, messages, or context that hasn't yet surfaced. And if that's the case, this release may not be the conclusion, but the opening move. Because what's becoming increasingly clear is that this isn't just about a handful of photographs. It's about the realization that people may have been holding on to information, waiting, watching, and choosing their moment carefully. And if one moment has arrived now, the question everyone's asking is simple. What comes next? That means Meghan Markle was never fully in the clear. She's always been one leak away from her past colliding with the image she's trying to project today. And now, with each new release, control over the narrative slips a little more because you can't steer the story when fresh material keeps surfacing. Every new image pulls attention straight back to chapters she's carefully avoided addressing. That's why this rebrand is wobbling. On one hand, she's presenting a grounded, relatable life, inviting cameras into moments meant to signal normalcy. On the other, critics point out the contrast with what these images suggest about earlier access to rarefied spaces. Whether that contrast is fair or not, it's jarring for an audience trained to spot inconsistencies. Then there's the international angle. These leaked yacht photos don't just show glamour. They point towards circles built on discretion, spaces associated with Middle Eastern royalty and Gulf state elites, where silence is the rule. In those environments, nothing leaks unless something has changed. The fact that images are emerging now, and that voices from those same tight networks appear more willing to talk, signals a shift. Whatever protection once existed doesn't seem to be holding the same way anymore. Why the change? Observers offer competing theories. Some think people inside those circles bristled at how her story was later reshaped for public consumption. Others believe recent controversies made quiet protection too risky, and a few suggest something more personal, crossing the wrong person, or simply exhausting the goodwill that once kept doors closed. Whatever the motive, the implication is the same. Once discretion cracks, very little stays off limits. If these photos came from private collections, more could exist. Travel records, guest lists, messages, first-hand accounts from people who watched those scenes unfold. That possibility alone explains why the internet won't let this go, which brings us to what may happen next. This doesn't feel like a random dump. It feels like a measured rollout, testing reactions, gauging silence, deciding how much to reveal. If that's true, future drops could add context, how introductions were made, who facilitated them, and how those elite connections actually worked behind closed doors. That leaves Meghan with narrowing options. Speaking out could clarify or amplify. Staying silent might let questions pile up. Either way, the carefully built rebrand is under pressure. These images challenge the transparency she's claimed and raise doubts about how complete the public story really is. With fresh material surfacing in January 2026 from sources who appear to know the backstory, a chapter she likely hoped would remain buried is now open for debate. And as the evidence circulates across platforms, the continued silence doesn't read as calm confidence to many. It reads as waiting out a storm that doesn't seem ready to pass. One thing is certain, this story isn't slowing down. More pieces are emerging, more insiders are talking, and the audience is watching closely. If you want to stay up to date as this develops, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters.